Scaling an e-commerce brand from 5-6 figures to 7 and 8 and beyond is rarely an issue of how big your market size is. It's usually the system that you're running. The tactics that took you from 50k to 100k a month are not going to be the same ones to take you from 500k to a mil to 10 mil a month. Granular audience targeting and really manual control over little things is not going to work at scale. And at Public Nectar, after generating over £400 million through paid advertising, through a mix of Google, Meta, TikTok and email, we have put together a list of 6 crucial levers that you need to implement on your account in order to scale past £1 million a month. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So diving into lever number 1 is that knowing that creative equals your targeting. You can't keep trying to manually control custom audiences and interest stacks and things like that. It's very much a case that Meta's algorithm will often optimize far better than you can ever choose within an ad set yourself. And right here, I'm going to break down exactly how this works and how different ads target different people. So a great example, I've got 3 different ad types here. So we have studio ads. So this is like studio photography, like real high production images of your product. The people that buy from an ad like this are going to be people who have seen the brand before, seen the product before, and they know what it is that they want to buy. And this is why they're high intent. Whereas if you compare that to a lifestyle image, this could be someone that's more focused on the aesthetic. Can they visualize the product in their home? Say it's a furniture item, or no matter where the product sits, is it going to fit into the environment aesthetically that they like? And lastly, UGC content, phenomenal social proofing. It's one of the strongest pieces of content we find because it can work at anywhere in the funnel, whether it's in the top, middle, or bottom, it can work throughout. But what you don't want to do is run one content type and nothing else, because if you do, you're going to miss out across that whole spectrum that we're getting here. So by stacking studio ads, lifestyle images, UGC, and running lots of diverse types of ads, you're going to allow yourself to target lots of different audiences. You're going to be able to massively expand your reach and increase that total addressable market that you have at your disposal. So the main point here, stop running the same ads over and over again. Now moving on to important lever number 2, and that is your offer. Arguably the most important of all the levers, because if we don't get this right, nothing else is going to help us. The important part about your offer is making sure that it has a high perceived value. Not only does the product that you're trying to push need to be valuable to someone, but the offer that you're trying to propose to them needs to hold value as well. Now, there's 2 offers here that I wanted to break down that you may run over a promotional period. The first one is the obvious one, and that is your percentage discount. And the next one is a free gift, or say buy 1 get 1 free, buy 2 get 2 free, something along those lines. A percentage discount is the one that most people are used to running, and what we've found over the years is that it can become less and less effective as people get more used to this discount. So unless you're willing to throw 50-60% and have a massive discount on, that psychology that triggers people to buy is not the same as it was 5-10 years ago. We have brands running rampant like Boohoo that are constantly all throughout the year giving away 70-80% discounts. So no wonder it is that it's not so effective anymore. And not only can we find that it's less effective, but it also eats further and further into your profit margin the bigger discount you're having to give away. A free gift is a clever, intuitive way to run an offer. It's not something that people do as often, so the offer will stand out when people see it in their feed. Not only that, but when it comes to your margins, it can work out a lot better for you. For example, if you were going to give away a 20% discount, instead you could find a product that's worth, say, £20 in perceived value, something that MSRP wise in a shop would cost around £20, but the landed cost of goods for you is around £5, say. You can give that away for free. Now you're only losing £5 in margin as opposed to the 20-30% of the entire product value that you could have lost before. From a margin perspective, it can be a lot more profitable for specific businesses. Better margins means better cash flow, and it means that we can bid more aggressively on our marketing. So all in all, it's a net positive. Now moving on to the important lever number 3, and that is the metrics that we're focusing on, or what I like to call our focus metrics. Too many people are focusing on the wrong ones, say your ROAS in platform, or your cost per conversion in platform, or your CPC CPC, all of these things are redundant unless the core bottom line metrics are in place, and that's what we need to be focusing on over any period. After a lot of these privacy updates that these ad platforms have introduced, looking at in-platform metrics can be less and less reliable. So what are the core focus metrics that we need to be paying attention to? Now, the first one is your new customer acquisition cost, or your NCAC. Instead of taking something like a CPA, which is like a cost per order, we want to work out how much is it costing us to acquire a brand new customer. This is especially important to keep track of if we're a subscription brand or someone that's relying on returning customers. And that leads me nicely on to the second metric, which is lifetime value. Now, if you stick around to lever number 6, I'll be running through a particular report in Shopify that people don't pay attention to that is really helpful for lifetime value. So stick around for that. So lifetime value is going to dictate how much it is that you can actually afford to pay for a customer profitably. If you have a much higher lifetime value, obviously the profit that you're going to get off of that person is going to be a lot higher, and therefore you can then start paying a lot more to acquire them in the first place, i.e. your NCAC. So lifetime value is always something that we need to be striving to grow. Now, moving on to the third stat here is obviously our marketing efficiency ratio, or our MER. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what this is, it's kind of like your blended ROAS. You take your total revenue and you divide it by your total marketing cost, and that will give you your MER. So the importance of this is that it considers all of the marketing expenses that you have and all of the revenue that you're generating in the back end, and not just what's going on in platform, which is why it's a much more useful metric to work to. Alongside net profit, it's the target that we use for about 90% of our clients. And then finally, obviously your bottom line is going to be profit. How much money are you getting after all your costs that's going to end up landing in your bank account? If that is in the red, then all of the other metrics are completely pointless. So this is the number one most important metric for us to optimize for. The more profit, the more we can scale, the better the business is doing. This leads me nicely onto important lever number 4, which is our KPI awareness. Now, obviously we went and looked at the metrics we need to be focusing on, but now it's like, how do we work those out? I have seen countless times where a business owner will sit down with pen and paper or a Google Sheet and try to work out exactly how much profit they can estimate and what sort of MER they need to be achieving. And there's so many different factors at play. It can take you hours and hours and you still not come up with the answer that you need. Now, all the clients that are working with us get access to this KPI calculator here, which makes the whole process so much more simple. Now, we are working on a public facing version of this that we'll be able to share with everyone that you can use for your brand. If you subscribe, I'll be releasing it in a future video soon, so stay tuned for that. But as you can see in this calculator, these orange and red boxes are what you fill in, such as your total sales, your total orders, your cost of goods, cost of shipping, even your fixed business costs as well. So things like your wages that you have to pay staff, the rent, all of the subscriptions that you're paying for your website, every fixed business cost can get considered in here. So what it also does is give you a very clever recommended target based on your business numbers specifically. So obviously this varies a lot whether you've got low margins or high margins depending what brand you are. It very cleverly works out exactly what recommended net profit target you should be aiming for and how far away you are from that. So having a tool like this or exactly this is going to be so beneficial for knowing what you need to be targeting in your marketing and save you hours and hours of headache trying to work out what you need to be hitting. Moving on to important lever number 5, and that is data consolidation. I cannot emphasize how important this one is. We audit so many different ad accounts all the time, whether that's Google, Meta. People are running too many campaigns. They're trying to control things too granularly, and that is not the way we do things anymore. To give you a good example, we had a bed brand come to us just under 2 years ago. They were doing around 700k a month in revenue, but they had so many campaigns competing with one another that they were losing 40k in net profit, which is absolutely mental. Then by consolidating everything together and running only the campaigns that we actually needed with intent, we were able to scale them to over 1.7 million a month, and now in the month just gone we hit over £3 million in November. We have scaled them up insanely quickly, and that is through a consolidated strategy. They're no longer doing lots of revenue and losing 40k a month. They are making more net profit now than they ever were before. So looking at Meta specifically as this example, The only 3 campaign types that you need are testing, scaling, and retargeting. We don't need to be going anything beyond that, or we're just going to be cannibalizing our campaigns, spreading data too thin, and the algorithm is not going to be able to learn, and that is going to cost you an arm and a leg. There are caveats to this. So when we start to scale up an account, we may horizontally scale and duplicate a scaling campaign, use some different bidding strategies, and this is called bid diversification. I may go into that in another video, but these are the 3 core campaign types to run. Don't worry about traffic and awareness, focus on these 3. Moving on to the final lever, number 6, is your retention and lifetime value. Now, the main thing that I want to go through here, because we did kind of already cover lifetime value before, is the customer cohort analysis report in Shopify. People kind of know that it's there, but I don't ever really see anyone using it. And even then, I don't see them using it in the way that they should. So if I dive over to Shopify here, so just looking at the standard analytics dashboard we have here, if we were to scroll down and look at the customer cohort analysis, I picked this client out because I think they're quite a good example. They have quite a high returning customer rate. Click into the customer cohort analysis, and what we want to do is, I have it set to last 12 months. You can set it to a particular year if you want to see how much revenue you're getting from people who bought 2-3 years ago. But for this example, I just want to look at the last 12 months. You'll see that it's just kind of a load of percentages at the moment, and you've got a few different months. You can scroll along to month 11. There's a couple key tweaks that I want to make. First of all, metric. I want to change this from customer retention rate to the amount spent per customer. And a toggle that I want to click on here is projections, because I think that makes this a little bit more interesting to look at. And then scrolling down to the interval, we do want this by month. But what I also want to do is show the first order, because this is how much someone spent the very first time they bought something with you. And now we can compare that directly to how much they will have spent with you in 12 months time. So as you can see here now, if we look at someone who spent and made their first order in December of 2024, we can see that the average first order was £44. But if we scroll all the way along here, the total lifetime value was £75 from them coming back and buying again. This is very largely down to the email marketing efforts and the type of brand that this is, but the email marketing that they are running is so consistent at bringing people back to buy again and again, and they're hitting their customer list to try and bring them back. So instead of them just paying that £44 the one time on their first order, and us targeting in platform, say a £20 CAC, because we're looking for, say, a 2 ROAS. We're now able to look at this and be like, okay, well, over a 12-month period, this customer spends £75 with us. So instead of a £20 CAC, we can now start looking at, say, a £30 CAC, and still then be more profitable due to the lifetime value of all the retention marketing that we're doing. And this is why I get so frustrated when brands don't pay enough attention to their email marketing, because not only is it simply revenue that you're missing out on, but you're missing the ability to scale your ads more aggressively than ever before. There's a reason why your competitors can just dominate the space and spend so much money when they're doing those 5-10 mil months, and it's because they're properly doing their email marketing. If we scroll down here and look at the projection as well, we can see that right now, based on the first order of November 2025, the average customer spent £49 for their first order, and it's estimating that by month 11, they're going to have spent £84 in total. So that's the projection, and that's why it's so helpful to keep an eye on this report, because then you can start working out, okay, well, maybe we should start spending more aggressively on our paid ads, which is going to unlock so much potential scale for your brand. Pay attention to these 6 levers, because likely one of them is going to be slowing you down. If you want to work out what the bottleneck is right now, then go ahead and visit the link down in the description below. We're offering completely free audits for e-commerce brands. So our expert team will dive in, look at your Google ads, your Facebook ads, the whole lot, and work out exactly what you're not doing to take you up to those 1 mil, 5 mil, 10 mil months. There is absolutely no obligation. You can take the insights and run, or you can choose to work with us. The choice is completely yours. But the value you'll get through the bottlenecks that we can expose is so valuable for you, there is no reason not to. As I say, the link for that is in the description below. Now, if you enjoyed that video, please hit like and subscribe. We've got lots of new content coming out in the future, especially as we move into 2026 with lots of big marketing changes coming up, I am sure. So stay tuned for that. I will see you in the next one.